Let's now bring in Defence consultant Mark Kimmitt, who is a retired US Brigadier General. He served as Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defence for Middle East Policy under Donald Rumsfeld. Thank you so much for joining us, General. Firstly, what's your reaction to Donald Trump's passing? And tell us what it was like to work with Donald Rumsfeld.
Well, first of all, you see me laughing here because I thought the last diatribe of Sami Hamdi was embarrassing at best and incorrect at worst. Look, I worked for Donald Rumsfeld. I knew him intimately. He picked me for two different jobs. I'm not a fan of his, but I'll tell you what, he was the hardest person to ever work for. But I also would tell you that he was a patriot. He did what he thought was right. He worked us to the bone because he knew his job was to defend Americans' interests. Unlike all of that diatribe that Sami went through, I'd be glad to spend as much time as he did explaining every point that Sami is wrong on, but let's go ahead and continue the conversation.
Yes, let's pick up on some of those points that you've taken exception to. I think there are a lot of people who now say that the Iraq War was a mistake and that Secretary Donald Rumsfeld was a big proponent of that invasion. Why is it then you think that Donald Rumsfeld should not have regretted his part in starting that war?
Well, first of all, let's be very clear. It needs to be put in the context of 9/11. We were attacked. I think that the actions that we took in the next couple of years, we have come to wish that hadn't been the case, but the best evidence and best intelligence that every intelligence service in the world agreed upon was that Saddam Hussein had nuclear weapons. Now, it turned out when we got on the ground, and I was there, the nuclear weapons were not in existence, but that just was a failure of intelligence on the part of the intelligence community. It was not a failure on the part of the judgment of Donald Rumsfeld. He's a patriot, and he was doing what he thought was in the best interest of America.
Okay, but it could be argued as well that the decision to invade Iraq diverted crucial resources to the fight in Afghanistan that allowed for the Taliban to resurge there, the effects of which we're still seeing today. Is that something that should cause some sort of a remorse or regret, the fact that Afghanistan only now is starting to bear some sort of semblance of stability, and even then that's not assured right now?
Well, I was the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for NISA, Near East and South Asia, from 2006 to 2008. I handled both of those wars and was intimately involved in all those discussions. Yes, there were certain assets that were diverted, such as drones, but by and large, the United States had more than enough equipment and resources, and the commanders on the ground didn't ask for anything more than drones. So this canard that somehow we would have won the war in Afghanistan had we not pulled those resources into Iraq is just incorrect.
Okay, so in terms of Donald Rumsfeld's legacy, what do you think will he be remembered for? Is it those two invasions, or is there anything more that perhaps he'll be remembered for?
No, he will only be remembered for those two invasions. But I think anybody that did a deep dive into his entire life would recognize what a patriot he was. He served as a naval officer. He was the youngest Secretary of Defense. He served as Secretary of Defense twice. He served in the United States Congress. He served in the White House. You could disagree with the decisions he made, but you could never disagree with the fact that he was a public servant and a patriot. Unfortunately, the headlines will only talk about his role in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Okay, General Mark Kimmitt, we will have to leave it there, but thank you so much for sharing with us your thoughts on TRT World, as always. Thank you.